Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Oh, Dallas. Dallas, you have a quarterback problem. You have a head coach problem. You got a kicking problem. That was a winnable football game, but Dak Prescott throws interceptions. My favorite is you have 3 minutes to go, and your first play should have been picked off by Greenlaw. But okay, so what? You get 9 lives. You're a cat. You get to keep going. You miss wide open Gallup. You throw the football horrendously, and then you take a sack on third down. Oh, my Lord, that was pathetic. That was so brutal. You have a quarterback problem. Your coach stinks too. The fact that you punt the football. My favorite actually was when it was 9-9 in the second half. It's 4th and 5, and they punt on the 40. Holy shit. Do you see the good coaches throughout these playoffs? Guys are aggressive. They keep the foot on the gas. You have to show belief in your team. You got to show belief in your quarterback, but he's putting Dak on the sidelines. Honestly, I thought both coaches showed zero trust. There was some times where Purdy made a couple throws in that second half, but Kyle Shanahan was afraid. Mike McCarthy was afraid, and I feel good being an Eagles fan knowing that that quarterback who does not have a lot of experience has to witness the link in an NFC Championship game. I feel great. I feel great. Why? The quarterback. We can go through a list of so many talented players on San Francisco. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Greenlaw. They have some good players on the offensive line. Christian McCaffrey, hello. You know, he's a stud when he gets rolling. And that's all fine and dandy. Jalen Hurts. Watch these games play out. Dallas lost because Dak Prescott sucked. Joe Burrow is a different type of customer. Pat Mahomes with one leg was hobbling around and did enough. Now, it doesn't mean there's not other teammates that have big moments or there's not other guys that make a big play. Because you saw CeeDee Lamb do everything he possibly could. He made that special catch, and I believe that was after the whole finger thing where it looked like he had a problem with his hand. So other guys do some things for sure, but when it comes to this time of the year, you need guys that you win because of. I thought this was a game that Purdy won because the other team really didn't execute. It wasn't anything really that he did. The other team just didn't have the balls and the testicles to make special plays long enough in this 4-quarter game. It is so funny to me. You got the whole kicking nightmare from them. Zeke on the final play. What? He just gets steamrolled. He just gets ran over. They always find a way to be the clown show. They're an embarrassment. And all those fans thinking that, oh, I got my tickets to go to Philadelphia. Oh, this is going to be amazing. You got to get there first, buddy. And you weren't doing what you needed to do to get there. Hate to break it to you. Your team can't make enough plays. Purdy's going to be scared all night long when he sees this defensive front get there. Oh, it's going to be magnificent. You saw the blunders. They almost didn't get that field goal off at the end of the first half, and I have no idea what Kyle Shanahan was doing with clock management. The details were pathetic. Mitchell running out of bounds. Their special teams, whether it's fumbling the football or allowing Dallas to get some good field position, they had some wobbleness in their game. I think Kyle Shanahan and clock management, something along those lines, we're going to be discussing Sunday night as an issue that went wrong for San Fran. But I bet you we're going to be crediting how loud and obnoxious and how hostile the environment is, because I believe that that's going to go a long way. Now, I'm stunned and I'm shocked that the line opened up at 1.5. I do see it some places 2, and I do see it actually creeping up a little bit by 0.5 point. I bet you by the time it's kickoff, it's flirting around that 3 range, which I think if you told me Eagles minus 3.5, that's probably what I think is a fair line for this. Open it up so small, I'm like, that's weird. But I'll keep it consistent. That tells me, because Vegas does know a lot, the 49ers have a chance. But this is the NFC Championship game. Of course. You don't see many huge, big-time blowouts. No, we did against Minnesota in 2017, 38-7, just in case you forgot. So it's not impossible. I think 1.5 is super tiny. I think 2 is super tiny. I think 3.5 makes about right. It makes about sense. That's about right. We'll see, though, if it pushes to that with the bets. But, man, I'm not afraid. I'm feeling great. I watched that game, and I feel better about it. And you know what? For weeks now, we've always somewhat been looking ahead at what else was in the NFC. I'm talking really when the playoffs first began, before the Super Wild Card weekend. So I'm talking before the Eagles even played a game, because they had the bye week in case you forgot. The team that was kicking back, relaxing, and just waiting for their opponent, it was like, okay, who should we be afraid of? What are some of the matchups? And I'm like, let's cool down a little bit. Let's wait until we get there. We'll probably see the 49ers, but I'm not ready to start breaking down exactly what I think is going to happen. Let's wait until we get there. Now here we are. And when it comes to this league, 99.9% of the time, there's one position that I'm studying intensely. And I'm looking at that matchup and I go, okay, right? Because Shanahan's creativity versus Jonathan Gannon, of course, there's going to be a little bit of fear that maybe they can find ways to scheme open some wide open plays. But at the same time, if Hassan Reddick and if these dogs, Josh Sweat, if they're capable of creating that pressure and being a force up front in the trenches, they're not going to be able to do that. Brock Purdy's going to be running for his damn life and probably having some happy feet. I watched him run around a little bit, and he had a little happy feet going. Once again, this team, and say what you want about Parsons, and say what you want about the defense of Dallas, which is not a pushover by any means. Go look at what the Eagles' defensive front this year did, and look at what came in second place in regards to sacks. The separation is monstrous. It's not as if they're a little bit better in that area. It's not as if they're just a tiny bit better in that area. Light years ahead. Light years. Now, both teams are top 5 in regards to offense and defense. So, but I'm sorry, I can't just forget that, wow, it's impressive to win 12 games. I don't care who your quarterback is. We watched with Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew couldn't even win a damn football game. So it's hard when you're losing Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, now you're on Purdy. Winning 12 football games is winning 12 football games no matter what your opponent is or who they are or how bad they are, because you look at that back end of the 49ers schedule, and while, yes, there is some recognition that they didn't play the most lethal weapons, and they weren't playing the Philadelphia Eagles on the road in an NFC Championship game, right? Week 14, Week 15, Week 16. It is not what you're about to experience in this city. So there's not a full-on correlation. But you win those games, it's hard to win that many no matter what the circumstances are. But even with all those details, you have a quarterback with the Eagles that you win because of. And I'll stand by that premise. You have a way better chance of winning in this league when that's the case. Cincinnati wins because of Joe Burrow. Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, they win because of Pat Mahomes. Now, he's in a little bit weird spot because of the injury and whatnot, but I'm just talking from the general sense. The Eagles only lost one football game all year long, and they won all the rest when Jalen Hurts started. Jalen Hurts is why that happens. I'm feeling good as hell because I know in the most important position in the sport, ding, 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 and I respect the hell out of their defensive coordinator. We know that he's a very talented mind. But I know so is Shane Steichen, who put on a clinic with play calling. And I know Nick Sirianni and this team, they don't make those mistakes that you watched the 49ers make. They left the door open. You can't leave the door open against the Eagles. It's funny, right? Because I'm watching, and Diggs missed an interception too. That one hit right in his hands. It hit his chest even after, I think there was a deflection there at the line of scrimmage. But the fact that he couldn't make that play is ridiculous. That's the only reason why you're out there. You pick the ball off. You get interceptions. How you let that one slide right through your fingertips is somewhat embarrassing. But I laugh because Dak throws interceptions, right? And here's San Fran getting the ball. And at times I'm like, damn, that offense. I think to myself, because I'm mapping everything out in my head, right? If the Eagles played Dallas and Dallas did something very similar, what's the difference than what I saw out there with the 49ers? And I go, yeah, Jalen Hurts puts that in the end zone. Jalen Hurts is scoring X amount of points off those turnovers. Jalen Hurts, the game completely changes with those two turnovers. That's what happens. You take the game over. You watched it happen against the Giants. You score early, you get the football back, you score again, you get the football back, you score. Although the one time they did get the interception with James Bradbury, they didn't score on that particular possession. But all the ones surrounding it, yeah, it was over before you knew it. Their defense is going to be intense. No doubt about it. San Francisco, that is. And while their offense can get creative and scheme guys open, will they be able to do it long enough? And would they be able to do it as effectively? I don't know. I don't think so. Just wait until Brock Purdy is taking a snap for the first time and it feels like there's 70,000 people swarming. He's going to be suffocated by the noise and then the game's just going to happen that much faster. I'd be stunned if this kid just does it again. You'd think at some point this foundation cracks a bit. He's done a nice job. I'll say the same thing this week that I said last week against the Giants. The Dallas Cowboys, they're not the Philadelphia Eagles in South Philadelphia. Playing a home game, being in San Francisco, that helped them out. Now, I'm sure there were a lot of fraudulent Dallas fans because, well, they're everywhere and there's nothing you can do about it. They're losers, and I love the fact that they're living in pain in regards to sports pain. You know, I was trying to talk myself around everything, right? And I actually asked myself at one point, do I want to see the Dallas Cowboys or do I want to see the 49ers? From a pure entertainment standpoint, knowing what the radio station would be like all week long, you face an NFC division rival in the New York Giants. And then you tell me the NFC Championship game, you get those losers, those idiots, those dopes, those stupid pieces of crap that choose the Dallas Cowboys because they want to piss everyone off when they're 5 and they never grow up. All these South Jersey clowns. Well, my father gave me a helmet when I was 2 and I've always been a fan since. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Man, they're the worst. The worst. But it would be fun, entertainment-wise, to kick their ass, send them home, and make them cry. And then they have to watch us in the Super Bowl play Joe Burrow, possibly, or play Andy Reid. All the storylines about Andy Reid and the Eagles through his time together, right? I mean, just think about what they'd have to go through. But as soon as the game kicked off, the second the ball went in the air, it's been a long time. Seriously, I mean this. I had some moments against the Giants, but the Eagles put them away so early, it kind of died out. The high-fiving your buddies, the fist pumping and screaming, the pacing and the clapping. I couldn't do it forever because it was a blowout. And it was over. Quickly. Tonight, my dog was so scared. Poor Zola. I feel bad. She was upstairs with my wife, and I was in the man cave. I'm screaming F-bombs. I'm flipping off the TV. I went middle finger to the television. I'm watching the game by myself. She got so scared, she stayed underneath the kitchen table. My wife's Snapchatting me, zooming in on the kitchen, underneath the kitchen table, and she's freaking out. She's scared. She was like, what the hell is my father doing down there? I'm watching the Cowboys lose. So my point is, to summarize here, I hate them so much that I was trying to ask myself if I would want them to win because it would be fun. I'm not afraid of them. I would love to see Dak Prescott throw a pick six and the place erupt. I'm ready for all that stuff. It would be beautiful. I couldn't do it. Fuck them. Fuck the Cowboys, man. Fuck them. It's so awesome to watch them. It's so awesome to see Jerry Jones. First off, we're seeing Jerry Jones 3 minutes after the game. We saw him before Mike McCarthy spoke. In what universe should that be happening with you? Imagine hearing Jeffrey Lurie speak after a game before anybody else. It's embarrassing. It shows you how the flow of their structure is just absolutely pathetic. But that's fine by me. You want to keep Mike McCarthy? Go have at it. He was terrible with clock management. I'd ask him, Mike, sit down in my office, please. What was that final play? And can you please tell me your thoughts on why you didn't go for it on 4th and 5? And yes, also, can you tell me why you punted the football? I get it, it's desperation mode, but basically you're saying that I'll burn all my timeouts and I'd rather get the ball back with about 30 seconds left or so if I have the clock and all the time right with no timeouts. I'd rather do that than go for it here on 4th. I don't see it. But what do I know? What do I know? Anyway, what a night, huh? What a sports weekend. What a ridiculous way to finish off our Sunday night. When I saw that clock tick, 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 first down. Second and short, first down. Third and short, first down. I got a little angry there when they ran out of bounds. I'm like, yo, let's go. Let's use our noggin. Let's play smart football, please. You're doing everything right. Don't let this thing slip. But, of course, with a big drive and a chance to show the world, Dak Prescott, here you go, kid. Shut everybody up. It doesn't matter what happened. Everything else that happened through all the 4 quarters, except for those 3 minutes left, you can make it all disappear. It can evaporate. The moment is yours. He throws it into Greenlaw's chest. Dak. Oh, Dak. What a throw, man. And that nice throw to Gallup, too. All right, let's hear from people, shall we? I guess I'll read this text before we'll take a call. This person, no name. Let me first start off by saying, ... I'm very disappointed about how the Bills performed today. I'll be honest, I haven't thought about the Bills once. I don't give a damn how the Bills performed. I'm worried about the Philadelphia Eagles. I really don't care. That's why even when people were asking me before, who do you prefer? My mom even texted me before the game began. What are you thinking? Do you think we want the Cowboys to win? I said, honestly, I'll tell you exactly what I said to my mother. All right, let's go to the text messages here. I said it doesn't matter. I think the Eagles beat either one. Dallas would be more fun / wild, but the 49ers have a rookie quarterback. She sent a little heart eye emoji and said, oh, great. You know, that's just how I was. I'm not focused on anybody else. I'm not focused on what anybody else is doing. I'm worried about the Eagles. If the Eagles play the way they played against the Giants, which basically was perfect football, I don't know if you can always play legitimately perfect football. There's going to be mistakes throughout a game, which is kind of how you counter those mistakes and balance the rest of it. Like, mistakes happen, right? You don't play mistake-free sports majority of the time. But I'm just saying, if the Eagles control their controllables and play their game, and the 49ers play their respected game, I think the Eagles win the football game. I think the Eagles win the football game. They were doing everything right. A.J. Brown making these blocks. I've mentioned Goddard's blocks. All those little things add up. And they just seem outrageously mentally locked in. But anyway, he continues. I don't really care, or she, I'm not sure. But I don't really care about the Bills. Okay, continuing the text. They did not look as confident. Don't care. As far as Dallas, still sucking. They gave it what they got, and it wasn't enough as the 49ers pulled it off. That's correct. I'm not concerned about the Eagles next week, but I do believe the score will be tighter. 21-13 Eagles. All we need is tight defense, a good running game, and we got ourselves a victory. 21-13, I'll sign on the dotted lines right now. I'll sign on the dotted lines right now. I agree that 49ers team is not going to be able to score a lot of points if the Eagles don't turn the ball over offensively. If the 49ers create some turnovers and then put their offense in a respected spot, well, then maybe they can cash in on some points. But I'm just saying that's normally not a part of the Eagles' DNA. And if they do what they normally do, I'd be stunned if the Eagles needed to score over 20 points to win this game. I think 20 points could do it because I don't have much faith in that quarterback. That play to George Kittle, you need some luck sometimes. Even the Eagles, when they won the Super Bowl, they needed luck. Remember that play against the Atlanta Falcons that Nick Foles was so bad that he threw the ball 50 yards away from, I believe it was Torrey Smith. It hit off of a defender's leg. It went up in the air. He caught the ball afterwards, and that helped the Eagles kind of pursue a little bit and get some rhythm. Like, that stuff is needed. And that George Kittle play was mind-boggling. I don't think that it's going to continue to go. They've won so many damn games. At some point, this is going to stop. And I think it stops on Broad Street. All right. That was their text. Let's just do hotline calls. I like to hear the people's voice. Here we go.
Well, the one thing we learned is that, this juggernaut that we were hearing the 49ers is really didn't materialize today. I mean, look, I think the Eagles have a chance against anybody. I respect the 49ers, but I sure as hell don't fear them. And as for Dallas, again, Dallas does what Dallas does. They choke, they gag, they disappear in the clutch. Dak Prescott doing what he does best, throwing picks. Mike McCarthy doing what he does best, gagging at critical times. I mean, how can you punt on 4th and 9 late in the game with little over 2 minutes to go? I mean, if that's not a give-up move, I don't know what is. But look forward to the game. I don't take the 49ers lightly. But again, they're coming into our house. Traveling from one coast to the other isn't easy, and I think the Birds will be ready.
I agree, and I'm not taking them lightly, thinking that they blow or anything. You make it to the NFC Championship game, there's something to that. There's 4 teams standing, right? And you have yourself Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. You have yourself a Joe Burrow that even through the depletion of some of his teammates and a lot of the injuries, the talk was the offensive line. The offensive line was not that much of an issue compared to, what everything was and the talking points. And you see them, now they're fighting to get back to the Super Bowl. The 49ers, say what you want about them, they have had this success with Jimmy Garoppolo, getting to the NFC Championship games, also getting to the Super Bowl. Look at these teams that are standing. It's not as if I overlook them or I'm not showing them respect. This is going to be a chess match. This is going to be significantly more of a battle than what we saw against the Giants. This is going to be the real deal NFC Championship level of game. I just don't know if they're going to be able to produce enough offensively. They have a lot of weapons. They do have some weapons that they can do some things with. Can they consistently, with the 7th round pick and a rookie, do this away from home? And the Eagles played Saturday night, if we want to get all technical with the time. But they play Saturday night, and the 49ers played Sunday night, so it does even out. I'm going to say they get another day of rest compared to the 49ers. And we know where Lane is physically. We know where Jalen Hurts is physically. Jalen Hurts didn't skip a beat. He's the most valuable player of the NFL this season. He's so dangerous. Even the special talent and the special DC in San Francisco is going to have a tough time figuring out how to handle him because there's really no flaws. See, last year, Todd Bowles could say, oh, yeah, he doesn't do this very well. Oh, yeah, we'll force him to get uncomfortable. There's no such thing. There's a way to get Purdy to be uncomfortable. Kyle Shanahan in this game was so afraid to actually ask him to do anything, it was blatantly obvious. Let that sink in. Their head coach was afraid to ask their quarterback to do certain things. He played like a little bitch. I'm just being honest. The head coach on the other side, at times in this game, coached afraid. They both did. So one of them had to win. I thought both coaches coached to not lose the football game. And maybe you could say, well, Kyle Shanahan knew that Mike McCarthy would do the same thing and knew that Dak Prescott would throw some interceptions. So he was doing what he needed to do to think that he'd get to the NFC Championship game. And to his credit, if that's what he thought, it ended up working out. So kudos to him. I don't think that works next week. You can't say, I'm afraid of Brock Purdy making mistakes, so I have to coach around that. And if he coaches the same way, scared of the quarterback, scared of using his own quarterback, Eagles win this game. You're going to have to ask Purdy to do certain things and make certain throws at a higher consistency with their possessions. But I want to use that as the example to describe to you how the complete opposite in Jalen Hurts is true. Nick Sirianni's got all the faith in the world for him to do everything. Everything. There's not one part of Jalen's game that the coaching staff is afraid to ask him to do. Nor should there be. All right, what's next?
What's going on, bros? Honestly, I am feeling good about playing the Niners next weekend. I mean, the Cowboys brought pressure to Purdy today. It showed that he has flaws while under pressure. He can't do much. He kind of freezes in the pocket and gets taken down for a sack. I mean, our D-line is going to feast on their O-line. Their O-line is really not that good. And it looks like the Niners secondary is not that great either. If our O-line can contain their D-line, I think Hurts will put up big numbers through the air. And yeah, I mean, I feel good. Purdy, I don't think will be able to do it in the link. I think it's going to be too loud. It's going to be too much for him. But yeah, I'm feeling good. -1.5 is disrespectful. It should be at least -4 or 5.
Yeah, see, I think if it was 4 or 5, I mean, I wouldn't be angry with that. It would tell me that Vegas feels very comfortable with the Eagles. But I thought maybe if I saw it open up at 3.5, which is your basic line for a home team kind of thing, I wouldn't have been, really thinking much of it. But I do think it's outrageous to be -1.5. Now, did he say, I'm going to replay this in the beginning, did he say they don't have an offensive line?
Let's go. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Oh, sorry.
What's going on, bros? Honestly, I am feeling good about playing the Niners next weekend. I mean, the Cowboys brought pressure to Purdy today. It showed that he has flaws while under pressure. He can't do much. He kind of freezes in the pocket and gets taken down for a sack. I mean, our D-line is going to feast on their O-line. Their O-line is really not that.
Well, I mean, they do have some players on that offensive line. They do have some players on that offensive line. But to be fair, yeah, you look at what the Eagles defense has done, and I think they're going to have to make them work. They're going to have to make it earn it, right? Just saying, there's absolutely an opportunity for this defensive line to win you the game, to take over the game on that side of the ball. We'll talk about Hurts, and we'll talk about Sanders, and we'll talk about that O-line for the Eagles. That's definitely helping out, especially if they establish some run. And I think McCaffrey, obviously, you can't let him get going. You can't let them roll and operate and use the time management and the clock and do something similar to Washington where, they're forcing Jalen Hurts to stand on the sidelines and they're forcing this offense to stay cold, and A.J. Brown is waiting to get his chance to get on the field, and Devontae is hungry and he's waiting. You could tell that they're antsy and they need to get out there. You got to stop a Christian McCaffrey from getting going. But, yes, the Eagles' defensive front, no matter who's on the other side, I think can, even if, this is something that's happened with this organization for a little bit of time. So we have all this faith and all this stock into the Eagles' defensive front. It very well could be a game where maybe they don't do as much as you think, but then there's the Brandon Graham play on a Tom Brady. There's a play where Josh Sweat gets to the quarterback. It's a super close game. It's the fourth quarter. There's a strip sack, and maybe it wasn't as effective for 3 quarters, but it makes that play. So what was such a strength all season long, maybe it does get counterbalanced for a little bit of time. When needed, though, it's there to flip the field or something along those lines. We've seen that happen, so maybe that's a thing. Hassan's a little quiet. Josh Sweat a little quiet. But fourth quarter, put your hand in the dirt, and you end up forcing 2 fumbles in the fourth quarter because you get yourself to Purdy. Something along those lines. Anyway, we'll wrap things up here. It's going to be a hell of a week, and I can't wait to experience it with you all. NFC Championship game, man. I can't believe we're here. And I'm not saying that because I didn't have faith the Eagles could get here. I'm saying because of how quickly the season starts. I remember it would be in week 1 and us getting mad that the Detroit Lions came back. I remember Monday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings, and the Eagles just exploded and showed that they're going to be a very unique team. Happens with a blink of an eye. Before you know it, Philly spring training is going to be here, which I can't wait for. But I'm saying I can't believe we're here, that it's this late into the season. I'm excited, though. We have a lot to talk about this week. Can't wait to experience it with you all. Thank you all so much. I love you. You're the greatest. Catch you on the next one.